CTV News at 5 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. So glad you could be with us on this Thursday, August 21st. There are 3 forest fires burning in the northeast region right now. All of them are either under control or being held. A 0.3 hectare fire north of Espanola is now under control, according to the Ministry of Natural Resources. The MNR says a fire on the south shore of Diamond Lake in the Temagami area, which sparked late yesterday, is now under control. There's also a forest fire southeast of Temagami near Ottertail Lake. It's being held at this hour. And the temperature ticked up again today, and the humidity is still around. To talk more about the weather, well, let's bring in CTV's Amanda Hicks, filling in for Rick Wyman. Amanda.
That's right, Tony. And you just had to step outside and you could feel that humidity in the air, stickiness in the air, and that's going to stick around for at least another day. Your first look at weather is brought to you by CAA. You can become a member at getcaa.ca. So it was feeling close to 31 degrees with the humidex, depending on where you were. It was definitely hot out there, and we are going to see another taste of the tropics, I'm going to say, tomorrow, until a cool front starts to move in and things start to change as we get closer to the weekend. I'll have more details on that coming up a bit later on in the show, but for now, Tony, I'm going to send it back to you.
Thanks for that, Amanda. I think a colleague of ours, Rick Wyman, says it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Moving on now. A Kashechewan First Nation man has been arrested and charged with possession of child pornography and luring. Anishinaabe-Aski Police Service executed a search warrant at a residence on Amisk Street early yesterday morning. Police say a number of electronic devices were seized. The 28-year-old was released with conditions along with a future appearance date. The Canadian Space Agency is working at the Timmins stratospheric balloon base this month. It's launching payloads to test new technologies, conduct science experiments, and take measurements. It's all part of what it calls the Strato Science 2025 campaign. CTV's Lydia Chubak has more.
At the Canadian Space Agency hangar in Timmins, scientists are preparing to test experiments they've been working on for years. They will send payloads into the stratosphere on large balloons like this one. It was launched last week.
It's the only place right now in Canada where we do these stratospheric zero-pressure balloon flights. They're quite large. We're talking about gondolas that can have 1,000 kilograms on them, so it's quite significant. And the balloon is about the size of a football field, so quite large. So we really have this base in order for us to be able to do these launches and have scientists collect their data.
This team of Queen's University students, along with dozens of other scientists and academia, are working to ensure their experiments will withstand what it could endure in the stratosphere.
The telescope itself is a radio telescope.
Queen's will be launching its radio telescope for the first time into the stratosphere to learn if it will be able to capture quality photographs.
We think actually a telescope that's on a balloon that moves can actually improve the quality of the images that you get and make better images of the regions around black holes at the centers of nearby galaxies.
It's one of several Canadian payloads from various universities and industries.
We've got 6 different Canadian experiments that are going to be flying on this flight, hopefully early next week, depending on weather and the conditions. So they were basically getting ready, preparing the gondola for integration of all the payloads. They were adding some crash pads underneath the gondola, which really takes some of the impact on landing.
A total of 10 balloons will be launched during this year's Strato Science month-long campaign, which wraps up on September 10th.
When the balloon lands, we have a recovery team that goes out and collects everything. They bring back the gondola with all the equipment. They bring back, even the envelope gets brought back, so everything's brought here. And it's up to the individual payloads, so the university or industry, whoever is designing their payload, to take that back, download their data, analyze it.
Since opening in 2013, the Canadian Space Agency says this base has supported nearly 100 experiments and involved over 500 researchers and students from across the country. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
A vehicle fire and a serious crash has closed Highway 17 between Marathon and Terrace Bay. The collision involved 3 vehicles. The highway is still closed despite the crash happening early this morning. Ontario Provincial Police are uncertain when the road will reopen. One person was taken to hospital as a result of the collision. For more on this story and all of our news stories, you can visit our website, CTVNewsNorthernOntario.ca. All right, it's time for a quick break. Coming up on CTV News at 5, Amanda has your full weather forecast. But first, let's head to downtown Sudbury. It's 25 degrees with mainly sunny skies. We are back in just a few minutes.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Welcome back. As we've been saying, it was another hot and humid day out there across our region, and we have another round of that in store, but there is some relief in sight as we get closer to the weekend, and that is going to come with some precipitation. And we are going to see, as you can see, as we start Friday, start the weekend, we have some pockets of precipitation above Kashechewan and Timmins, and that is going to move to a more concentrated area above Chapleau, Timmins, Kashechewan areas. And then by the time we move through the weekend, that's where we're going to see it pretty much everywhere. So we are going to see some precipitation as we move on throughout the weekend. And getting into that a little bit further, the northern half of our region is going to see more rain, obviously less in the southern half there. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're making plans this weekend. 5-day forecast starting with Sudbury Nickel Belt, humidex of 30 for tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, chance of showers Saturday and Sunday, continuing on into Monday. Temperatures fall to 16 degrees, single-digit temperatures overnight, climbing a little bit to 19 degrees on Tuesday with some sunny breaks there. For Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, 26 for tomorrow, feeling more like 34 with a slight chance of showers, some sunny breaks there, chance of showers throughout the weekend. 16 degrees on Sunday and then 15 on Monday. Hopefully we get a mix of sun and cloud on Tuesday with a high of 19 degrees. For Timmins, Cochrane, Kashechewan, chance of showers for tomorrow, high of 24, chance of showers, strong chance of showers throughout the weekend. By Monday, slight chance of showers, high of 14 degrees, and a mix of sun and cloud on Tuesday. For Timiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, 26 for tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies, feeling like 30 degrees with the humidex, chance of showers throughout much of the weekend. 15 degrees on Monday, chance of showers. So Monday, as we begin the week, next week is going to be the cooler day over the next 5 days. And finally for North Bay, West Nipissing, 26 for tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, feeling like 31 with the humidex. So make sure you put on some sunscreen, drink that water, and a chance of showers throughout much of the weekend. So Tony, it is going to be hot out there, but there is some relief in sight. Back to you.
Thanks so much for that, Amanda. A yearly event in Sault Ste. Marie took place this afternoon, offering plenty of fun for kids while also allowing attendees to get to know local social services agencies. The second Game On street party was hosted by the District Social Services Board, whose officials are fresh off of meetings with provincial ministers. CTV's Corey Nordstrom has more.
With just a few weeks until the young ones are back in the classroom, the Sault Social Services held its yearly block party to help kids make the most of the end of their summer holidays. The second annual event brought plenty of games and sports together with face painting, food, and a number of vendors. Many of those booths, social agencies that don't always get to interact with parents.
It's really a soft touch point for parents to come out with their kids. And, you know, it's not a conversation that might be, difficult in nature when you're, bringing your kid to a barbecue and maybe getting their face painted or having something to eat. But just having that soft introduction really makes parents aware of what's available in the community.
The day of fun and relaxation was especially needed for local officials who recently returned from the Association of Municipalities of Ontario conference in Ottawa, a yearly opportunity to bring the needs of the Sioux directly to provincial ministers.
Things like physician recruitment is a big one, continues to be a big one year over year for us. There's the issue of the Port of Algoma that we're trying to develop. And then, you know, along with more physicians and more economic development comes the need for more childcare spaces.
On all of those files, local officials say they felt they were successful in ensuring the province knows how dire the need for help is. They add that the conversations also allow them to plan better, to be in lockstep with the government. MPP Chris Scott has taken part in many of these discussions, but this is his first as an elected official.
Hearing directly from them, hey, we got to chat about that when we're down in Toronto again, or, you know, let's connect to talk more about. Those things made me feel extremely encouraged that we weren't just meeting for 15 minutes and then hopefully doing it again sometime next year.
Bagnuco adds that delays of a funding agreement for the Sault's Heart Hub was also brought up to the Minister of Health. They were told that there should be a clearer timeline on when that funding will come through in the next month. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
And it will be here before you know it. Coming up on CTV News at 5, officials with Cinefest Sudbury, the People's Festival, roll out the complete lineup for next month. For the very first time in Greater Sudbury, the Syrian flag was raised at City Hall. A small group came out to mark the flag raising at Tom Davies Square. There are two flags associated with Syria. This one is called the Flag of the People because it represents independence following the toppling of the Assad regime last December. And today's date is the 12th anniversary of a deadly chemical assault by the Assad regime that killed more than 1,000 people. Organizers call the flag an emblem of perseverance, resilience, and hope.
This flag is now the flag that represents the Syrian people, because we were, before, just like about 6-7 months ago, we had a flag that now represents the Syrian people. So it was nice to acknowledge that this is the flag of the people, raise it here, and allow the Syrians to now celebrate the new free Syria. And what that brings is hopefully democracy, freedom of rights, and human dignity.
Al-Zaran was just a boy when his family immigrated as refugees to Canada in 2016. As his way of giving back, he aspires to be a doctor and will be studying at Nosum University this fall. There's a new partnership in Greater Sudbury that will raise funds to help local children connect with sports and recreation. Joining forces are the YMCA Northeastern Ontario and the charitable arm of the SW Sports and Entertainment known as Play It Forward. That partnership was announced today at a media event and barbecue in front of the arena downtown. The agreement means proceeds from 50-50 draws at both Sudbury Wolves and Sudbury 5 games will allow children to participate in sports that they might not otherwise be able to afford. Since 2016, the 50-50 draws for the Wolves and the 5 have generated $3 million, with half of that going to winners and the other half back into the community. In OHL news, training camp for the Sudbury Wolves starts up next Tuesday. Head coach Scott Barney says he will be looking to his younger players to step up and fill the void left by departing players.
We got a team that's lost, 3 defensemen that played, 28 to 32 minutes. That's a big hole of veteran guys, but I think some of our younger guys are looking to make a big step here, and some guys we've drafted in previous seasons. And for us, our model always is the best players will stay, no matter where you're drafted. And I think that's huge for our players, knowing coming to camp that each player has an opportunity to make this club.
As for the other teams here in the north, training camp kicks off Monday, August 25th for the North Bay Battalion. The Sioux Greyhounds will be making roster announcements Monday, but training camp won't start for the Hounds until the 27th. Cinefest Sudbury released its long-anticipated lineup for next month's festival. One of those is the documentary, John Candy, I Like Me. As CTV's Madison Merrier tells us, this multi-genre film festival has it all.
Lights, camera, action.
We're going to be screening a few films multiple times. Typically we would only screen a film once. This year we just want to really create this atmosphere and remind people that Cinefest is one of Canada's largest film festivals by adding even more programming than ever before.
This 9-day film festival has been going on since 1989, putting lots of eyes on the screen and the North. An estimated 30,000 people are expected to come this year.
Would have never guessed that a film festival the size of Cinefest could find home in the city of Greater Sudbury. We were a mining, dominant community way back then. But right away, people embraced it locally. Now we look at our attendance, though, and 30% of our paid attendance comes from sources beyond 100 kilometers. So we've really developed that kind of niche and that profile as a tourism destination as well.
I think it just goes to show how much culture there is up here, that we have filmmakers who are from here who have their own stories to tell, that they could reflect their own experiences up north here, their own lives.
With many Canadians looking for staycations, Cinefest offers the perfect opportunity to get dressed up and support talented filmmakers from the North and abroad.
I think with Cinefest, that's what we try to do. We want to be able to expose people to films that they otherwise would not be able to access, that they're not going to necessarily see these right away on streaming sites or elsewhere.
With approximately 111 films coming to Cinefest Sudbury this September, the only thing left to do is grab your popcorn. Madison Marier, CTV News, Sudbury.
If today is your birthday, you share the day with the oldest living person in the world. Ethel Caterham turns 116 today. She's enjoying a quiet day celebrating with her family from her care home in Surrey, England. Caterham was born August 21st, 1909 in South England, 5 years before the start of World War I. The title of the oldest person ever is held by a French woman who lived to be 122 years old. Will you soon be able to repair your own iPhone? We will explore this topic and more in our Tech Talk segment. You're watching First at 5. So what is making tech news this week? To give us the latest information, Ritesh Kotak, cybersecurity and tech analyst, now joins us from Toronto. Hi there, Ritesh.
Hello.
Apple is launching a program in Canada helping customers self-repair devices. What do you make of that?
So I think that this is a step in the right direction. We've all had a situation where we've cracked our screen or just something on our device doesn't work properly. Well, now Apple and other organizations are making it easier for individuals to repair those devices, essentially making tools kits available, products available, and how-to guides. And this speaks to a bigger trend that we're seeing with respect to right to repair. So essentially, your device getting the right tools, being able to repair it, and not void the warranty. So definitely a win for consumers and a step in the right direction.
Before, wasn't it hands-off all iPhones?
Yeah, and in fact, the device was glued down. There were components that were attached together, so you couldn't remove one part. You would essentially be breaking your phone. And there was kind of the criticism is that was done by design to make people purchase new devices. Now the devices themselves are being engineered in such a way that they're easy to repair.
Okay, let's move on. Will the next generation of smart glasses could be the next big AI trend? What do you think?
I think that this is a big AI trend. We have seen organizations like Meta and Ray-Ban partner together. I'm actually seeing some of these devices on the streets. This trend started about over a decade ago when Google created Google Glass. I think they were ahead of their time in kind of the pre-AI age. But now growing up with AI, I think a younger generation is going to be much more welcoming to this technology. We're going to see this technology become more fashionable as well. And there's a lot of applications from real-time translation to transcription services. I can also see professional organizations, everything from nurses to police officers, using this technology for positive. So there are some privacy considerations, but overall, I see smart glasses and AI kind of a trend when it comes to wearable technology in the very near future.
Ritesh, we've seen some restaurants try this before. Now, Chipotle is teaming up with Zipline to test drone delivery. What do you think about this idea?
So this is an idea that has been conceptualized, tested by other organizations. Amazon famously is working on this. Domino's tried a pilot project, I believe, in the UK. And now we're seeing Chipotle in the United States. So when it comes to autonomous drone delivery, I think that there is something there in certain markets. I think in Canada, it might be a little bit more difficult because of our laws. You need to have essentially line of sight. So autonomous drones may be problematic. Even autonomous delivery vehicles, when you think about our harsh winter conditions in some parts of the country, would be very difficult as well. But clearly this is something that's going to be invested on, that's going to be a part of future delivery models that organizations will look at. And I also think it's going to shift this model of how people order food. Right now, they may be using third-party apps, so the food gets delivered to them. I think this will put the power back into restaurants. And look, this is one way that these organizations are thinking outside the box, just not a flying pizza box that's being autonomously delivered to me.
Ritesh, always appreciate your insights. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Ritesh Kotak, cybersecurity and tech analyst, joined us from Toronto. And to see more of our Tech Talk series, don't forget, head to our website, CTVNewsNorthernOntario.ca. Our first community close-up comes to us from Sault Ste. Marie. Wendy Lynn Hill emailed us this video of a bee loving the flowers. She says the pollinator was taking it all in before the cold weather sets in. Wendy Lynn, thanks again. We're off to the village of Thornlow between Timiskaming Shores and Earlton. Karen Evans sent us this photograph of her cat, Jerry, just hanging out in a toy dump truck. Thanks so much, Karen. And finally, a BC woman says she got the surprise of her life when an unexpected visitor showed up in her home in the middle of the night.
Originally, when I saw the actual feather colours, I thought it was maybe an eagle or something. And then actually when it kind of turned itself around, I was like, oh my God, it's an owl, which was really surprising, and also pretty lucky to be able to see one up close. And how many other people have had one in the living room? It was unreal, to be honest.
Sue Cook says this owl flew through the window of her North Vancouver condo early Wednesday morning and made itself at home on her couch. Her husband eventually ushered it onto their balcony and it promptly flew away. I wonder if she said, "Who goes there?" All right, there's more news for the North coming up at 6. You hear all the groans here, folks. For now, continue watching as we hand things over to CTV National News.